Hey everybody, what is up? Can you guys hear me? Does everything sound good? Because I have weird latency on my end. Somebody tell me over here in the comment box if we are good, if you guys can hear me. Let me know. I'm gonna have a drink here. Sounds good here. Right on. So, welcome. Happy Saturday to everybody, and happy, what is it, last day of March. So tomorrow is April 1st and Easter. So happy Easter to all of you who celebrate Easter. I don't really celebrate any holidays, but I do celebrate April 1st because 2 more days after that and I start the PCT. We're going to kind of hang out for a little bit. We're going to wait for some more people to go ahead and sign on so everybody can be here during the gear giveaway. And then if you caught on the Patron post or not, we decided to smash together the gear giveaway and the Q&A this week. So we will do the giveaway first, and then we're going to do a whole live Q&A session. Now, usually this is reserved for patrons that I believe have supported $10 or more. It's just the reward for that. But this month we decided to do it for all of you, since you all have helped me so much in supporting me, getting me out on the PCT, helping me make more videos. So I wanted all of you to be here to ask me as many questions as you possibly can before I get out on the PCT. Anyone else just hear audio? Oh, can you guys not see me? Am I gone? Let me know if you guys can see me and if the audio sounds good. Somebody over here, video should work. I see it. Red sees me. Everybody else see me? No video here. Well, somebody sees me. Maybe just try to refresh your... No video here. J.R. Smith and Paul, maybe just try to refresh your browser, and then you'll probably see me, hopefully. We're going to wait just a couple more minutes, and then we'll start. We'll start doing it. Do you guys want to do the Q&A first, or would you like to do the gear giveaway first? By the way, I'm very loose on this whenever I do it, so you guys are used to watching my edited videos where I chop it all up and I edit it, but there might be moments where I'm just kind of waiting for you guys to respond, and I might just sit here and stare at you. That's just how I do it. That's how these live Q&As go. So Paul can see me. Excellent. So what do you guys think? Do you want to do the gear giveaway first, or do you want to do the Q&A session first? Up to you. Gear in the end, Lorenzo says. Got some more votes for that. Gear at the end. So that's 2 for the gear giveaway at the end. Flip a coin. I don't have a coin. I don't carry coins. I'm a hiker. It's just extra weight. Too many choices. Yeah. All right, so I think since we've had a couple people answer and they want me to do the gear giveaway at the end, we'll do the gear giveaway at the end. Let's go ahead and start with the live Q&A. So again, if any of you are new to this because you haven't been to my live Q&As before, essentially how it works is throw your question over here in the live chat, and then I'll just go down the list and try to answer as many of them as I possibly can. Let's have questions about the PCT. It can be about the AT. Any questions that you guys have for me, just throw them over here in the live chat and I'll answer them up. I'll have another drink of my tasty kombucha that Snuggles just brought me back. By the way, I am sitting in my best friend's house in 29 Palms, California. It's where Snuggles and I have been hanging out for the past month. Ever since I got off the Pinhoti Trail, we've been back here. Joshua Tree National Park, the entrance to the park is literally like maybe 10 minutes right up the road, straight shot. entrance to Joshua Tree. So that's why I've been spending a lot of time in Joshua Tree National Park, and we decided to hang out here to see them. We're close to the PCT because we're about 3 hours from Campo, where the PCT starts, and then it was a really good spot for us to build out our new van. Hey, North Texas hiking kayaker, how's it going? All right, so we have our first question. Eric Lee Vincent asked, have I ever tried hammock camping? Yeah, I have tried hammock camping in the past. Nothing hardcore. I never had like a hardcore underquilt or top quilt. I did some really lightweight summer hammock camping. I never really answer it. I don't talk about hammock camping a lot, and there's kind of a reason for that. And eventually, I'm going to make a video on, why I don't really like hammocks. And for me, the juice is not worth the squeeze on hammock camping. I really like sleeping in a hammock. I think it's really good sleep, but I think there's too much gear that goes along with properly hammock camping. So, you have to have a hammock, you have to have your straps, you have to have your underquilt, your top quilt, a tarp, a bug net. There's just so much gear, and for me, I'm all about simplistic setups on the trail. I want to keep it as simple as possible, and hammock camping just isn't simple. There's so much gear with it. It's, now I don't even like having a tent that has a rain fly separate. Like, I love my Z-Packs duplex because it's one piece. I put it on the ground, I put my trekking poles in it, I set it up, I'm ready to go to bed. So that is the main reason that I'm not a hammock camper. It's too much gear. As big of a gear geek as I am, it's just too much gear for me to mess with. If someone could figure out a more simplistic hammock camping system, I'd probably get into hammock camping. Like I said, I'm into it if all I have to carry is a hammock and straps. Just throw my sleeping bag or my quilt inside and go to bed. But if I have to mess with all the rest of the gear, it's just not worth it to me. Just don't want to do it. Do I ever slack pack? Good question, K-Matt, I'm sorry. K-Matt. Kmart, K-Matt. Yeah, I have slack packed in the past. I've only ever slack packed twice. So the entire time that we were hiking the Appalachian Trail, I only did it twice. We slack packed once in 2015. We were staying with a friend that we had met on the trail named Rube, and we stayed at his house for a few days. And right around his house, he actually lives in Daleville, Virginia, so right in the Blue Ridge, right next to McAfee's Knob and Tinker Cliffs and the Guillotine, all of those really awesome AT like spotlights. And we slack packed all of that because we were staying with him. It was just easier so we could kill some miles. And then we slack packed in 2016 on the AT right there before Franconia Notch. There's a section right when you get into the Whites, right when you come down from Mount Moosilauke. There is a big section. It's about a 20-mile section. We stayed at a hostel that offered slack packing for free, so we slack packed that section. But that's the only time I've ever slack packed. I've never done it on any smaller trails, and I don't think that I plan to do it on the PCT. We'll see what happens. I'd rather just hike all the miles, but I'm not opposed to slack packing. Will Snuggles be supporting you on the trail, like with new shoes after 600 miles, etc., and with food stops, etc., or am I flying solo? That's a good question, Paul. Snuggles is pretty much going to be dropping me off at Campo, and then I'm going to see her in the first 5 days, I believe in Julian, California. So Snuggles' whole plan is, while I'm hiking the PCT, she is actually going to be road tripping up and down the West Coast. She is working on writing a book currently. She's going to be self-publishing that, and then just pretty much taking care of everything else, posting my videos, and doing all of the other things on the internet that we do to make income. And then I'll probably meet up with her about every few weeks. So trading out shoes, like you asked, yes, she'll probably be there to have me trade out shoes. I plan on trading out my first pair of shoes at Kennedy Meadows, so mile 700. I'm really hoping I can get 700 miles out of a pair of the Ultra Lone Peak 3.5s. And then, yeah, she'll be close. She won't be really following me. I won't see her like every day or every week, but she'll be close enough to where if I need something, I need a resupply, I need to swap out gear, she'll be somewhere in the vicinity. So that is definitely going to happen. The reason she's actually meeting me in Julian, California, that is just 4 or 5 days up the trail, is because my best friend, who we're currently staying with, his name is Murphy. He's actually going to be starting the PCT with me. So he's going to be hiking that first 4 days with me. And then Snuggles is going to pick him up in Julian and then bring him back here to Joshua Tree. So yeah, we're going to meet up with each other every once in a while, but she's not going to be following me like every single day. Message, somebody retracted their message. Coming to Arizona soon. Rhonda, we spent September and November in Arizona in Flagstaff. I would love to come back to Arizona, so I'll share it with you guys. I haven't shared it with everybody, and it's not 100%, so keep that in mind. But after the PCT in 2019, I'm pretty much planning on laying low a little bit. I'm going to do, and what I mean by laying low is I'm going to do a bunch of smaller hikes, so no real big hikes, a lot of sections again. And then in 2020, our plan is to return back to the Southwest, and I want to through hike the Arizona Trail in its entirety. So 2020, probably in the spring, we'll be back in Arizona, and we'll probably be based out of Flagstaff again, maybe Sedona, and then I'm going to do a full northbound through hike of the Arizona Trail. So yes, we will be back soon enough. Lorenzo, as one gets closer to the next dimension, oh dude, one thinks of exploring while hiking. Do I carry any form of emergency communication for those areas where mobile phones do not work? No, I would assume that you're talking about like a Delorme, or some sort of like a satellite phone or something. I've never used anything like that. If I was going hiking in like the Patagonia down in South America, or if I was hiking in like the Canadian bush up north, I would definitely want to have something like that. There's not a lot of places, I think, in the lower 48 in the US where you're really in that deep of wilderness where you couldn't get to some sort of a ridge or something where you could get service on a cell phone. It's just kind of the world that we live in now. It's been my experience anyways. So no, I've never carried any type of satellite communication device or any type of Delorme or a tracker or anything like that. I always just carry a cell phone. I've never needed anything else. Knock on wood, not yet. I've never needed anything else, but you know, I might carry something like that one of these days because Snuggles and I have plans on going down to South America and doing some hiking in the Patagonia, as cliche as that sounds, because it's like every hiker's dream to get down there and hike that. But as of now, no, I have no plans on carrying anything like that. I just have my cell phone. Did I do any day hikes in the mountains just west of Joshua Tree? No, I have not hiked like in Jacinto. No, not yet. Uh, Pretty much because the PCT is going to pass through all of that, most of it, anyways. So I kind of wanted to save that. It's really cool though. I posted a picture on Instagram the other day. You can see those mountains from here. I can go out in their backyard right now, right outside of these windows, and I can look and see the snow-capped mountains. I can see the PCT essentially. So the whole month that we've been here, every single morning I get up, I go to the van, and I drive to the park. I drive to Joshua Tree National Park almost every single morning, but it's only like a 10-minute drive up the road. And I just look off into the distance and see the mountains. So it's pretty cool. It's really inviting. Like it's just waiting for me to get out there and tackle it. So pretty cool. But no, I have not hiked in any of those mountains yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking really forward to it. So if any of you guys have questions, I see that there's 24 of you watching now. If some of you have just joined us, we're going to do the live Q&A first, and then we're going to do the gear giveaway next, or last, or at the end. So if you have any questions for me about the PCT, the AT, anything, if you guys have any questions for me about anything, now's the time to ask them. Throw them over here in the chat box, and then I'll answer as many of them as I possibly can. I'm just pretty much going down the list. Um, oh, I can't look at that. It's real weird. I always say it in my live Q&As. It's like I'm always surprised by it, even though I do one of these a month. But the weird latency. So I have two screens up right now. I can see me in live time, like in real time, and then I see what you guys are seeing in a little bit of a delay, and just like totally messes with my head. How strict is leave no trace on the PCT? Might be hard to get 200 feet off the trail in the mountains. So, how strict is leave no trace on the PCT? That statement to me, leave no trace is strict no matter where you go. If you're in the woods, if you're in the mountains, if you're on uh, state land or federal land, you're in a national park, you're in a national forest, in a state park, in a state forest. Leave no trace is the same every single time. Leave no trace. Pick up your stuff. If you're gonna take a crap and you're gonna drop a deuce in the woods, get 200 feet off the trail. I have never been in a spot, even being up on a high ridge line, that I couldn't just hold it and wait till I got down to a certain spot. So I made sure that I was 200 feet off the trail. So leave no trace is strict everywhere, as far as I'm concerned. I always practice good leave no trace as much as I possibly can. There's obviously times where everyone slips up and maybe you get only 175 feet off the trail, but it's always good to practice it as much as possible. I've tried to be a hardcore advocate for that, especially with the massive impact that everyone has had on the national trails over the last like 5 years. And I'm a part of that problem. We're all a part of that problem. The overcrowding on the trails. And if there's going to be overcrowding on the trails, and we're all going to be out there, it's up to us to make sure that they're staying clean and they're not getting trashed, because yeah, that's a hell of a job to try to tackle all that. So that's definitely up to us to take care of what we love so much. K-Matt just purchased a Z-Pax duplex and was delivered yesterday and haven't had a chance to set it up yet, but will first thing tomorrow. But my question is, how comfortable is it for two? So the duplex, I bought the duplex mainly just for me, but Snuggles and I have both slept in it multiple times. We did a trip up in Joshua Tree where we used it as a two-person tent, and then we used it in Sequoia National Park, as a two-person tent, and we were super comfortable in it. Now I have a little bit broad shoulders, but I'm pretty thin, pretty small build, and so is Snuggles. It really all depends on you. We can get by in a two-person tent. We usually sleep head to toe, so pretty much if I look over, her feet are right in my face, and vice versa. So we can't sleep head to head. But I've never owned a two-person tent where I could sleep head to head. I would say if you're a little bit wider, maybe a bigger, burlier person, then maybe you should have went with the triplex. But yeah, we use it as a two-person tent. I think it all just depends on the person, for sure. But that being said, I love it as a one-person tent because I actually sleep diagonal in it, so corner to corner, and I have like all this space to spread out. It's excellent. It's going to change next year, though. I'm actually going to a smaller tent. I'm going to get another one of their tents. Haven't decided on which one yet, but have some smaller, faster hikes planned for next year and at the end of this year. So I'm going to get a one-person tent from Z-Pax. I think that I'm going to get it from them. I've also been looking at some Mountain Laurel design tents and just a bunch of tents. And everybody thinks that I'm just all for Z-Pax, and I love Z-Pax stuff, but there's a lot of other stuff out there that like has really perked my interest over the last year. A lot of people stepping their game up for sure on tents and packs. Been pretty competitive. Eric, definitely have to ride the tramway in Palm Springs to the top of is it? I'm so bad in pronouncing these. San has Jacinto? Is it Jacinto? San Jacinto? Yeah, that's how white I sound right now. It's funny. I've actually been hanging out at the house all day, at my friend's house, and Snuggles just got back from Palm Springs. Her and my best friend's wife just went down to Palm Springs to go to Trader Joe's and do some shopping. Brought me back a delicious kombucha because like we're in 29 Palms and there's like nothing here. It's a military base and like that's it. Some barbers and some tattoo shops. So you got to drive pretty far away to actually get something around here. Um, but yeah, I'd love to. I've heard the tramway is really fun. I haven't done it yet. How much water capacity H2O do I plan to carry on the PCT? So actually, I have a video coming out next Thursday about my cook system and my water storage. And as of right now, I'm starting off with 5 liters of water. I'm not going to start off with 5 liters of water, but I have the capacity for 5 liters. So I'm going to be carrying 3 1 liter smart water bottles. So 2 on my sides, 1 up here in my shoulder pouch, and then I have my 2 liter Knock Vecto container, my bladder. And then if I need that extra water, if I need to carry 2 more liters, I'm going to fill that up and strap it to the top of my pack. I've had to do that in the past, so that's my plan. So 5 liters of water. If for some reason I get to a stretch where I think that I need more, I'll just pick up another bottle in a town and then just put that on my mesh pocket on the outside. How many miles per day am I wanting to get to for my PCT hike? The plan as of now is to average between 20 and 30. The first 4 to 5 days are probably going to be a little bit lower. I like to ease into a trail a little bit, get a feel for the trail, because plans never work out. I can say that I want to do 20 to 30 every day, but I could get out there and it could totally change. But my best friend, who we're staying with right now, he's going to come out and hike the first 4 to 5 days with me, something he's really wanted to do. So I'll probably be hiking a little bit smaller days. The first day we're definitely doing 20, going all the way to Lake Marina. And then after that, I don't know. After he leaves, after Julian, I'll probably be going between, 20 and 30 miles every single day. I'm shooting for 4 months for my hike. So it's a little quick, but I like to hike fast. I like to hike big days. So I think that I can get it done in 4 months. That's the plan anyways. Next up, Eric. Am I doing Mount Whitney Summit side hike? So I have my permit for Mount Whitney. I don't know if I'm going to do it. From what I hear, a lot of hikers get their permit for Whitney and then they just never do it. It's just, it's an extra day you pretty much have to put on the trail. I would love, 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 love to climb Mount Whitney, but I think that I'd rather come back and climb Whitney and not have it part of my hike, just because I think I'm going to be wore out. And it's the thing that's hard is when you're out on the trail and you're doing a long distance hike, you're really in this mindset of the hike, and everything else is just, it kind of gets you out of that groove and out of that mindset. So I think that if I go and do Whitney and I take an extra day off the trail, it'll just be a little harder for me whenever I kind of start back up again on the trail. So that, and like I'm a big geek for national parks and big national monuments and things like climbing Mount Whitney. So it's something that I rather have as like a separate thing to kind of enjoy by itself. So I have a permit for it. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. We'll see. Make sure you take the tiny side trip off the PCT to Summit. Only a few miles. I might. Summit views like the one from the top of that mountain. I don't know. I might see some pretty wild summit views, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I just said, like I'm just one that doesn't really. I like to enjoy the trail for what it is. I'm not one that does a lot of does the blue blazes. Like I'm not a person that will go off the trail to go see something else. As awful as that sounds, and it's like sped up and like in a rush as that sounds, I'm just so focused in the hike and all about the trail that it's really hard for me to kind of divert off of that. In 2015, out on the Appalachian Trail, we made the mistake of getting off the trail for 4 days, and we went to trail days in Damascus, Virginia. So we were already past trail days. We were already past Damascus. We were in Daleville. So we got off the trail. We stayed with a friend in Daleville, and then we drove back to Daleville, or we drove back to Damascus for a couple of days for trail days, and I really wish we wouldn't have done it because when we got back on the trail, it wasn't the same. It felt weird. It felt funky. And then the whole time we were at trail days, all we could think about was hiking, and it wasn't fun. I wish that I would have waited and then went back to trail days, and I plan on going back to trail days probably next year in Damascus. But yeah, I'm just not one that likes to divert myself off the trail and divert myself off the hike, especially because I'm going to try to get it done in 4 months. So I'm kind of like nose to the grindstone, hike the trail, enjoy the trail and what I can on the trail, but leave everything else for another time, another adventure, a side adventure, if you will. I'm going to take a drink real quick, take a break. You guys keep throwing your questions over here in the chat box. How long did it take to revamp the van? So, if some of you don't know, my wife Snuggles and I just got done completely converting our 2002 Ford Econoline 150 van and turning it into a schwanky condo on wheels. It took me exactly a month. So we got back here in Joshua Tree on March 3rd. March 3rd, I believe. I started working on March 5th. So started ripping the van out, and I just finished 2 days ago. So it took me just under a month to rip it out, do all the woodwork, do the flooring, hook up the solar, paint, build the bed, do everything in there. And it's technically still not done. We wanted to install a vent in the roof, and we just didn't order it in time, and they were out of stock in the one that we wanted. So we're actually going to wait until I get off the PCT, and then we're probably going to go back to Indiana for like a couple weeks after I get off the PCT, visit some family and friends, and I'm probably going to install that there. So the van is about 95% done, but yeah, it took us just under a month to do it. It took me under a month to do it. I've pretty much worked on it like a madman. So, have I ever rock climbed since I've been in Joshua Tree? No, I haven't, and I spoke to that in a Q&A I think a couple weeks ago. It kills me. I love rock climbing. I love it, love it, love it. I haven't done it in years, and being out in Joshua Tree and seeing people, climbing out bouldering and top roping and stuff, it's been killing me because I want to go climbing so bad. But I haven't because I don't. I'm a big person that is very like terrified that something will happen to me if I do something else. So like I haven't rode my bike in quite some time either because I've been doing all these hikes. I've been trying to stay in hiking shape, and like I have this thought in my head that if I go do this other activity like riding my bike or climbing, that I'm going to injure myself or mess up my muscles from hiking, and so I might just be a little paranoid, but no, I haven't had a chance to go climbing in Joshua Tree. I really want to. We'll definitely come back to Joshua Tree. JT has become one of my favorite places in the country. We've spent a lot of time here this year and last year, and we'll definitely be back, and I'll definitely get some climbing in for sure because there's some really nice routes. A lot of times I'll be out on a hike and I'll be walking next to like one of the walls, and I'll just look at it and just start like making a route and just be like, oh, I gotta go climb that. So we'll be back. I'll definitely do some climbing for sure. How would I rank the difficulty of the Pinhoti versus other trails? I've done several Alabama sections, and it always seems to kick my butt. I'm old and fat, though. The Pinhoti was relatively easy, but it depends on what your definition of easy is. Like the very beginning of the Pinhoti, from Flag Mountain to like the Chiao Wilderness, was cruise. Like I could have put a blindfold on and just ran that. It was so smooth. And the Chiao Wilderness definitely kicked my ass a little bit. It was a little bit of some tough section, a lot of tough hiking. And then it smoothed out again a little bit. And then whenever I got into Georgia, right towards the end of Alabama into Georgia, it got pretty hard, pretty heavy climbing. But then again, like it really, like what makes it more difficult, like I try to explain this to people all the time, it's not just the terrain that makes a trail difficult, But down in Alabama and Georgia, it's super humid, right? And I've been living out in the Southwest for like 2 years, where there's no humidity. It's super dry out here. So going to hike in humidity, it is really, really hard to hike in that stuff because you feel like you're hiking in molasses. You like chop the air and like slide open the humidity. So that was the hardest part, I think, of the Pinhoti Trail was the humidity, especially whenever I got into Georgia. Right there towards the end of my hike, it was getting really nasty outside, really nasty. So the difficulty from that was harder. But it versus other trails, I don't know. That's kind of a hard question. Like that's a hard question to ask because I think all trails have their easy sections, they all have their hard sections, and they all have their own difficulties, right? So, the Appalachian Trail is hard because it's just constant elevation change, up and down, up and down, up and down every day. The PCT is hard because there's massive sections where you have no water and you have to do massive water carries and massive food carries and going through the Sierras. The CDT is hard because there's nobody out there. There's no trail community. So it's very desolate. So I think all of the trails have their own difficulties. I don't know if any of them are really harder than any of the other ones. It's funny, for years, the only trail that I thought that couldn't be hard was the Florida Trail, right? Because it's just like Florida, it's flat as a pancake. But out of all the people I know that have hiked that trail, said it's insanely hard. It's an insanely hard trail because you're not changing up and down in elevation and you're constantly pounding your feet against the ground every day. And it tears you up. It's really hard on your body. So, yeah, I don't think that the Pinhoti is any more difficult or less difficult than any other trail. I think that all trails just kind of have their difficulties and their easy parts, and yeah, they're all kind of a different beast for sure. Um, what are my current favorite trail snacks or meals? Avocados. God, when I was out on the Pinhoti Trail, it's all I wanted to eat. I literally could have carried nothing but avocados the entire time I was out on the trail and just ate that all the time with chips or just straight out of the rind or avocados. So good. I think the reason is because like you get used to eating either hot food if you're cooking or like room temperature or warm food from like a package every day. So there's nothing that's ever cold. And every time I eat an avocado, I feel like it has like a cooling effect in my mouth. So it kind of like avocado always tastes real fresh and cooling and refreshing. So I think that's why I got so addicted to them. So avocados definitely. Jalapeno Fritos. I didn't know those existed until I started the Pinhoti Trail, and we were at a random grocery store in Georgia, and I saw them, and I was like, I gotta have these for the trail, and then I got addicted to those, and I haven't had them in a while, but one of my favorite things to eat on the trail are Pro Bars. They're kind of stupid expensive. They're like $3 a bar, but they have like 450 calories a bar. So that is one of my favorite things to eat on the trail, especially the super greens one because it has like a greens powder mixed in with peanut butter and chocolate and all that. So that's really good too. But yeah, avocados, Pro Bars. I'll probably be eating quite a lot of Pro Bars out on the PCT if I can find them. Jalapeno Fritos, and I think that's about it. Aside from that, I just eat like the same thing all the time. I don't really have a favorite. It's just stuff I have to eat on the trail to get calories. So, um, what's up from Western New York? Howdy, Jen. I like that hike your own hike for sure. Yeah, that's what it's all about. As cliche as that's becoming, and how many people are taking that term out of context. I've heard a lot of people talking about hike your own hike being a bad thing. You guys hear those dogs? Um, hike your own hike becoming a bad thing, and it means that you're a smartass and you don't care what other people think about you on the trail. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think hike your own hike just means kind of be in your own world, and what works for you is what works for you. And I don't know. It's weird how that's become a controversy for some reason. Sorry, I just got off on a tangent. Back to a question. How is my Z-Packs pack holding up? Is the Cuban fiber wearing down at all? Nope, my pack is holding up great. I would assume that you're talking about my Arc Blast because I have two Z-Packs backpacks. I have the Arc Blast and then I have the Nero. Both of them are great. I have a little bitty wear spot right above my hip belt on my Arc Blast. Um, I don't know how it got there. I don't know what rubbed it because it wasn't me. Um, but yeah, I do have a little bitty wear spot, but that's it. Yeah, it's the Cuban fiber is really tough. I think a lot of people, it's a weird like fear. A lot of people are afraid that like Cuban fiber is just gonna like disintegrate as soon as you touch it or take it out there. It's pretty tough stuff. But yeah, it's holding up good. Leo, what's up, Leonidas man? Van looks beautiful. Thank you, Leo. I need to get back to you on your text. Sorry, that was a side thing. Leonidas is here. Leonidas is who hiked part of the Pinhoti Trail with me. If you guys watched Pinhoti Trail Part 2, that was that good sir hiking with me. I'm going to try to get him to get out on another trail with me sometime in the near future. So, Paul, my son and I are hiking down to Bright Angel, down the Bright Angel at the end of May 2nd, and 2 nights there, and then one day out. Apart from starting early, what are my thoughts on about hiking out on the Bright Angel Trail? All right, I gotta figure this question out. So I would assume that you meant you're hiking down to Phantom Ranch at the end of May, 2 nights down at Phantom Ranch, and then one day out. Apart from starting early, what are my thoughts on hiking out on the Bright Angel Trail? So I'm probably the wrong person to ask because every time that I've ever hiked the Grand Canyon, I always do way too much. I've done a rim to rim in 7 hours and 15 minutes coming down North Kaibab and then going up Bright Angel. Don't do that. It was a very, very bad idea and I paid for it dearly. So don't do that. But what are my thoughts on leaving Phantom Ranch and hiking to the top of the South Rim on Bright Angel in one day? Yeah, absolutely. Shouldn't be a problem, I wouldn't think. That's what most people do. I believe that's only 9.8 miles. If anybody knows for sure, correct me on that. But I think it's 9.8 miles from Phantom Ranch to the top of the South Rim via Bright Angel. And Bright Angel is definitely a good trail. If you're going to go between that and South Kaibab, definitely take Bright Angel. South Kaibab is one hell of a climb, super steep. There's no water. It's punishing. I wouldn't do it in May. But yeah, Bright Angel, you should be fine. Get an early start. I love that hike. Love the Grand Canyon. I'm sure you guys know from last year, I spent a lot of time in that canyon. Pretty great. I hope to get back there very soon. So yeah, have fun on that. Hiking out back up to the South Rim and have fun down at Phantom Ranch. I've personally never stayed at Phantom Ranch. I've been on the North Rim, I've been on the South Rim, but I have never camped in the canyon because like I said, I always do it way too much at one time and I always do my rim to rim in one day. I've now done it twice. So have fun with that for sure. Let's see. North Texas hiking kayaker bought the Enlightened Equipment Torrid Apex jacket based on my review. You really love the jacket, and it's one of your favorite pieces of gear. Yeah, man. It is one of my favorite pieces of gear, too. It's a great jacket. It's funny because before I got that jacket, I was talking to Tim Marshall, who is the owner of Enlightened Equipment, and before that, I got that jacket. I was never a fan of synthetic stuff. I'm a down guy. I always have been. And me and Tim were talking, and he, funny enough, even though he owns Enlightened Equipment, which is like a huge down jacket, or not down jacket, down quilt manufacturer, he doesn't like down. He's a total synthetic guy. Tim Marshall does not like down. So we were kind of in this argument, and he was telling me how he was going to convince me that synthetic was better than down. and he just kept saying, I'm going to prove it to you." And his proof was they ended up asking me if I wanted to test out one of the Taurids before they were released, before they came out on the market. They wanted some research and development done and asked me if I wanted to field test it, and I did. I got that Apex, that Taurid Apex jacket, and it totally convinced me that synthetic is better than down when it comes to a jacket. I don't think that I would have a down jacket on the trail again. I'm synthetic on the trail every day. Now, he still hasn't convinced me on quilts, but the jacket, yeah, Tim won. That thing is awesome, super warm. Sorry, that was a long story about a jacket. Jen, do I carry a fire starter with me even if I'm not cooking? What do you use in your pack as a fire starter? The only fire starter that I carry is a Bic Mini. That's it. If for some reason I need a little bit of like something to catch on fire, I'll just grab a little bitty wad of toilet paper out of my roll, and that's usually what I'll start. I just said start, and then I stopped because normally when I'm shooting a Q&A, I would stop and then say it again and then come in and edit it if you guys caught that. So, yeah, the toilet paper is what I would use to start a fire with my Bic Mini. But I don't ever start fires on the trail anymore. The entire Pinhoti Trail, I never did a fire. I didn't do a fire on the Appalachian Trail in 2016. Didn't do one on the Arizona Trail. Yeah, I just don't do fires anymore out on the trail. I don't know why. And if someone else has a fire, I'll always go and get in on it. But as far as starting a fire, I usually just don't do it. What's my favorite food to cold soak? Right now, couscous. I'm really into couscous. It's just because it is really, really easy to cold soak. It doesn't take any time at all. So couscous, and I just put a tuna pack in there, maybe a little hot sauce, mix it up, eat it. I'm a really simplistic eater on the trail. I don't like anything too crazy fancy. So yeah, couscous, tuna, little hot sauce, I'm good to go. Alf, what's up, Alf? Do I still use Dr. Bronner's? I think you use it to wash your clothes as well as everything else, right? So I do use Dr. Bronner's every day in regular life. I just took a shower this morning, actually, and used Dr. Bronner's. On the trail, I don't carry Bronner's anymore. And I don't carry Dr. Bronner's because I personally stopped washing clothes or myself, as awful as that sounds, in the woods, because even though it is castile soap, I am very, very leave no trace when it comes to leaving anything in the environment, and I don't want to get soap into the water and into the soil, even if it is castile, because it doesn't belong there. So I don't use it out on the trail anymore. What I typically do is I wait until I get into a town, and then most trail towns now, like hostels and stuff, someone will have a little bit of Dr. Bronner's, and I'll use it there. But no, I don't carry it on the trail with me anymore for the reasons that I explained. I just don't wash things on the trail anymore. I don't like to get soap into the environment. Whether it's good or whether it's bad or whether you agree or not, it's just kind of my thing. So no, I don't carry it anymore. But thanks for remembering. I do love Dr. Bronner's. It's good stuff. Do I have any recovery exercise for my legs? Yoga, perhaps. So I do yoga, but I do yoga pretty much when I'm not hiking. I just try to stretch as much as possible, and I'm really, really bad about recovery exercises because I hike all the time. If I'm not like doing a long hike, I'm doing day hikes. I just hike all the time, like little day hikes. I'll just go for like a 2 mile hike. But yeah, I'm not very good at recovery exercises. I use a stick. I have a rollout stick that I use quite a bit. And then I like to prop my legs up. Aside from that, that's about all the recovery that I do. You can ask anyone that ever hiked with me. It's pretty rare that you'll see me stop at the end of the day and stretch. I always just forget to do it. I'm really bad about it. I probably need to. It would help me out a lot in the long run. But No particular recovery exercises. Eat. That's the best recovery exercise. Eat as much as possible. All the calories. Get all the food. Um, Alf, what method do you use to stick to the non-water source contamination guidelines when bathing slash washing? Um, kind of like I already explained, I don't. Um, if I'm going to clean out my pot after cold soaking or cooking, I'll just put some water in there, and I actually take my finger, take it down in the pot, and I just kind of use my finger as a sponge, and I clean out the pot. I shake it around. I go quite a ways away from my camp, and I toss it into the woods. I come back. I take a little bit of toilet paper. I dry it out, and I put that in my trash bag. I don't use soap. I don't use soap to wash anything on the trail, and I don't put soap into the environment. It's just a personal pet peeve of mine. So that's how I do it. I don't. Um, read down through here a little bit. A lot of them have piled up. Sorry, I'm taking a little bit longer to answer stuff. Um, the campsite next to the Phantom Ranch is called Bright Angel. Oh, right on. That's what you're talking about. You're going to stay at the Bright Angel campground. Gotcha, Paul. Gotcha. Yeah. So regardless, though, you're going to be down there at Phantom Ranch, Bright Angel Campground, whatever. But yeah, I think that it's no problem in hiking from Bright Angel Campground to the South Rim in one day. Get an early start. Make sure you have plenty of water. Get filled up on food in the morning so you have plenty of energy, and should be good. Did I find Carrie's castle while in Joshua Tree? No, I did not, and you're not the first person who's asked me that. I've never been there. I need to find it, because apparently it is really cool. How do I dry out my sleeping bag when it's raining constantly and condensation is keeping it damp even when in my tent? How I usually do it is when in the morning I'll take my quilt and I'll just put it in my pack, and then hopefully at some point during the day I get some sort of a dry time, whether the sun's out or I'm on a ridge line or maybe I find a shelter, and I just try to get all my stuff out, hang it up, and let it dry. I take a break. Sometimes I take a siesta and I'll just take a little nap and try to get my stuff to dry. Um, there's times where I haven't been able to do that, and I've just had a wet quilt for multiple days, and that really sucks. But yeah, that's about the only way I know how to dry it. Is just look for those dry spots and try to get it dry. That's all I got. Sorry. Leo, thoughts on the possum down gloves for a fall trip? I know that you have the outdoor research liners, but wasn't sure if you had tried these. No, I haven't tried the possum down yet. I've looked at them. When it comes to gloves and stuff, I'm just a big outdoor research fan. I don't know why. I've looked at those possum though, but I haven't tried them. So no opinion on those. But yeah, check them out. Why not? Might as well. Z-Packs makes like everything good. Just about. I don't like their quilts. I'm sure I'll get questions about that. I don't like their quilts, but I do like everything else that Z-Packs makes. So yeah, try the possum down gloves. I'm sure they're excellent. Are there any trails in other countries that I'm hoping to hike? Yes. There is a particular hike that I might possibly be doing next year in the spring, late spring, with a certain group of people in a certain country that I'm not at liberty to say yet. But yes, there are other trails in other countries that I definitely want to hike. The main place that I really want to hike in another country is South America. I don't care what trail it is and where it is. I want to do some hiking in South America. It's been a big dream of mine, and it's just where I want to do it. So, yeah, don't know exactly where yet, what trails, but I got to get to the country first, and then I'll make that decision and find what trails are there to hike. Right? All right, guys. So I'm going to answer 5 more questions. So there's already one up there. There's two. So three more questions after those two, and then we're going to get into the drawing. So we're going to give away some gear or a big bundle of gear to one of you lucky patrons. Let's go ahead and answer these last questions. Red says, am I preparing for bugs at all on the PCT? No, not really. I'm sure I'll get into some bugs, but no. Once you've hiked the Appalachian Trail and you've hiked through like Massachusetts and Vermont, and you've literally had to like push the clouds of mosquitoes and flies out of your way, like nothing's worse than that. So, no, I'm not really doing anything for preparing for bugs. If they're there, they're there. If I have to pick up some DEET, I pick up some DEET, but I don't think they'll be that bad. I've never heard of anybody really talking about bugs out on the PCT. Not like you do whenever you're out on the East Coast. Out there, man, they are bad, real bad. So, 2:45 a.m. here in France. Good God, go to bed. That's terrible. uh, Off to hike the West Highland Way next week. I have to check it out. To check out Scotland. Just beautiful. I plan to check out Scotland very soon. That was a hint, by the way. That was a hint. I do plan on checking out Scotland. Go to bed. 2:45. Don't miss sleep because of me. It's just not worth it. But I appreciate it. Thank you. That's commitment. Lorenzo, try the town of Tuscany in Italy. Awesome experience. Great food. Right on. I'll do that. Yeah, I need to get overseas. I got a lot of plans on hiking over there in a lot of different places, but yeah. Um, Sorry. After the PCT, are you looking on doing any hikes in Death Valley or the Mojave National Preserve? Leo, man, no. When I get done with the PCT, our plan is actually to head back out to the East Coast and down south, and we're going to spend some time out there. We've been living in the Southwest now for almost 3 years. Even though we've done some traveling back to the East Coast, we're just kind of ready for a little bit of a break because we don't want to get completely burnt out on the desert. I love it out here. I love the Mojave. I love Joshua Tree. I love Arizona. I love Southern California, but I don't want to get too burnt out and then it not be special anymore. So as soon as I get off the PCT, we were actually heading back to right around the Appalachian Trail, right around the AT, Georgia, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, that whole area of the AT, and we're going to do some stuff around there. So, but I will be back to the Southwest in 2020. 2020 is the plan for coming back out here and spending some time in Arizona again, and I'm sure we'll come back out here and spend some time in the Mojave and Joshua Tree. Any plans to hike the Ozark Trail? Yeah, it's on the list. It's not very high up on the list. I grew up in the Midwest, in Indiana, so like that whole section of the country, I've spent a lot of time in. So if I'm gonna go hike anything right now, it's mainly out here in the West, or it's gonna be up north, or it's gonna be out on the East Coast. Um, but I'll eventually get back to it. I'll eventually get back to that area doing the Ozark Trail. I've always wanted to do the River to River Trail. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that. It's in Shawnee National Forest. I've spent a lot of time there when I was a kid, and that's a place I'd really like to hike. So yeah, the Buckeye Trail, that's in Ohio. So I plan on being back. I'll be back in that area eventually, and yeah, eventually I might hike the Ozark Trail. The TGO, I'm doing the challenge. I am not going to say yes or no to that, the TGO. I'm just going to leave that open-ended. Jen, what do I think will be the toughest part for me about doing the PCT? I haven't given that any thought. Probably getting off the trail. Because that's me. That's how I always am with every hike. I don't want to leave. I don't want to get off the trail. I don't want to come back to the hustle and bustle. So that's probably going to be the hardest part. Yeah, I don't know. Haven't given that one a lot of thought. Sorry. Getting off the PCT when it's over. Yeah, you did call it. Right on. Yeah, the best part for me is probably going to be the people. I really love the trail community. You know, that's why I started my YouTube channel, is to create a trail community off trail. It's really, as much as I love nature and I love being on the trail and I love hiking, my biggest thing that I love about the trail is the community. It's other hikers. It's sitting at camp at night and talking about gear with somebody, or sitting around a campfire and telling stories, and that is my favorite part. I think it's a very raw part of the human psyche. Whenever you're out there and you're around people and you're all like-minded and you're all doing the same thing and you're going through the same thing. So the part that I'm most looking forward to is getting back out into a trail community and being around those people. And then, yeah, the hardest part is it's going to be leaving them again. It's going to be leaving those people and coming back to talk around people that just don't really understand, that aren't on the trail. That being said, I have an awesome job apparently, because I get to talk to you guys. I get to make videos about the thing that I love, and I get to constantly talk about it, constantly live a trail life, even off trail. So thank you all for that. Thanks for supporting that. It's awesome. You're helping me live a dream, which is pretty great. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, I got kind of deep there for a second. All right, guys, so that is the last question that I'm going to answer for this month's live Q&A. Thank you all so much for joining me for it. So let's do the thing that you all have come here to do, aside from hearing me just talk and ramble for about an hour. We're at 56 minutes. Wow. Let's give away a big chunk of gear. So I've given this a little bit of thought, and I want you guys to give me an answer, and you all have to give me an answer. There's 35 of you watching, so you better give me an answer. We can do two things. We can either give the whole package of gear as one big package. That is the Optimus Cook System. That is the Knock Outdoor Buff and the Vargo Titanium Gold Spork as one package, or we can do first place, second place, and third place, and we'll draw 3 names. It's up to you guys. Leave me something over here in the chat box. Let me know what you think. Do you want to be greedy and do you want it all to yourself? Or do you want me to split it up and share the love? I'll wait. Hmm? Three names, 3 names, 3 names, 3 names. Split it up. First, second, third, spread the wealth. Yeah, gotta go with 3. 1 prize. Huh? There's a couple of you that want 1 prize. Spread out the love. First, second, third. You have until I finish this juice. It's kombucha. It's kind of juice. Share the love takes it. Yes, it does. So you guys have spoken, and you want me to share the love and give away 3 separate pieces of gear. So first, we will draw for number 3rd place, and that is going to be this super sweet Knock Outdoor Buff. Galad, the owner of Knock, actually sent this to me as a thing to give away on the channel and to give away to you guys. So I'm going to pass this along to one lucky winner. Now, what I have done is I have taken all of your names. It actually took me 35 minutes. I used a program and I typed out all of your names individually, and that's every patron. You don't have to be present to win. It is every single patron. I typed them all out, and I am going to push a button, and it's going to randomly select one name out of the list of patrons, and then that patron is going to win the piece of gear. So let me get that pulled up real quick. All right. You're all waiting very patiently, all 34 of you. Well, what I'll do is whoever wins, I will send you a message on Patreon letting you know that you won the piece of gear, and then I'll have Snuggles get it in the mail to you and send it out because I'll be hiking. I won't be able to get it to you. So let's go ahead and I'm going to use this program. Random Name Picker is what it's called. Mini Web Tool. So all I have to do is hit pick a random name. So the third prize winner, which is the buff Knock Outdoor branded buff, is Deerman. So Deerman, you win the buff. Let me get something real quick to actually write that down. I'm gonna put it in my phone. No, I have a computer in front of me. Deerman, are you out there? Are you currently watching right now? If you're currently watching right now, leave a comment. Sorry, I'm just gonna sit here. I don't see Deerman responding, but Deerman, you won the Knock Outdoor buff. Congratulations on that. We will get it out in the mail to you, and I will send you a message on Patreon, and then I'll also drop you an email to make sure that you get that. All right, so let's go on to the next one. The second place prize is going to be this awesome Vargo titanium spork. It says it's yellow. It's totally gold. It's so bling bling. It's unreal. It's probably the coolest spork I think I've ever seen in the outdoor industry. So the second place winner of the Vargo golden bling bling spork is going to be William Zimmerman. William Zimmerman, you are the second place winner of this awesome bling bling spork. If you are currently watching, leave a comment over here and let us know that you're here. Melt it down for teeth. Yes, melt it down for teeth indeed. Let me type that into my... If you haven't guessed, I'm like very unprofessional about this. So, William Zimmerman wins the Vargo spork. Every time I type in Vargo into my computer, it says cargo. It always autocorrects Vargo. Vargo doesn't exist in Apple world, I guess. All right. So, congratulations, William. We'll get that sent out to you, and I'll send you a message. And it's time for the grand prize winner of this awesome Optimus Electra FE cook system. That comes with the Optimus Crux Light. It comes with a cook pot that also has a lid that's a pan. That comes with a windscreen. That comes with a piezo and a little scratchy bob cleaner thing. Optimus sent this to me to check out. They wanted me to test it and give them their thoughts. I told them before they sent it that I didn't have any time because I was about to go do the PCT. I think this thing would be awesome if you're going to go do some high alpine hiking or camping and you need a much more efficient stove at higher elevations. It's super windy. This thing will be awesome for that, or just any type of hiking or backpacking. This would be an awesome stove. I really like these Crux stoves. I've always really dug the stove. I've never used like the pot or the windscreen or any of that, but I have used one of these Cruxes in the past. I know Redbeard swears by the Crux stove. It's one of his favorite stoves. So, all right. So let's pick the name for the grand prize. It's thinking. It's thinking. It's thinking. It's thinking longer. Hello. Hold on, it froze. All right, so the winner of the Optimus Crux Electra FE cook system is John Garrett. John, if you're watching, leave a comment over here in the live chat. John Garrett is the winner of the grand prize Optimus Electra cook system. So, congrats to all three winners. He is a nice guy. William, such a nice guy to send that to Alf. God, just an awesome community. Absolutely awesome. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining me on the gear giveaway and being here for the Q&A. Thank you all so much for all of your support with the channel and watching videos and leaving comments and participating in things like this and supporting me on Patreon, getting me out on the trail, liking Instagram photos. I always like to leave the Q&A, and whenever I'm around, like you guys say things, they're a little more heartfelt than being so funny in my videos. And I think about it a lot when I'm out hiking or I'm shooting a video and I'm sitting in front of a camera and I'm out on the trail all by myself, and and I think about how insanely lucky I am to have put myself out there into the world and just filmed and talked about what I love and what my passion is. And so many of you have been attracted to that and grabbed on, and you're on this ride with me of hiking and making videos and talking about gear. And it means the world to me that there are people out there that care about what I do, that you guys support that. It really does mean a lot. If like just one of you liked an Instagram photo, or just one of you sent me, I get emails all the time, but if there was just one email, like every so often, that said thanks, that's why I do it, and that means the world to me. So thank you all so much for supporting me and helping me get out on the PCT and letting me let you live vicariously through me. Thank you so much, so much. And I start the PCT on Tuesday. Um, it'll be about 2 weeks before my first gear for the PCT. It'll be about 2 weeks before my first PCT hike video hits YouTube. You guys will obviously get an early viewing of that, so look out for it on Patreon. I'm going to try to post some exclusive photos for you guys on Patreon that I'm not going to be posting on Instagram. So make sure that you're following me on Instagram so you can get those pictures almost every single day from the trail. But I'm also going to try to give you guys some exclusive pictures on Patreon, maybe of camp or just me resupplying, or I don't know, whatever you guys want. I'll send you some pictures of from the trail. And again, thank you so much for getting me out on the trail. You're awesome. You're all very, very awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you next time. Night. Oh, have a good Easter too. Now I gotta shut this off. Now you get to awkwardly stare at me and watch me shut this off.